Hello, friends, and welcome to Talking with Famous People. Today is a regular day. Not really much anything going on today. Except regulation approved activities. So, all of a sudden, we'd finished an episode of Naked and Afraid, and I said nothing at all. I just started setting up a live stream because it's just a regular day, and that's kind of one of the regular things that happens, you know. When things are regular. Dark Sunshine, we are absolutely delighted to have you here.
Yes, we are.
Absolutely delighted. And contrary to what you might think, delighted does not mean removed of light.
No.
Instead it means like this, jazz hands.
Yeah.
We feel jazz hands about you. The thing is, yesterday, as Rachel and I just finished discussing, was too big for its britches. That's not a bad thing for a day to be too big for its britches. But obviously, most days are not too big for their britches. The reason yesterday was so too big for its britches is I think because Rachel and I had a too large a succession of days that were too small for their britches.
Yes.
Like, a day that's the proper size for its britches, even if I don't have any amphetamines, it's probably going to include an hour's worth of live streaming or something. It's just what I normally have done for a long time. Last month or so, that hasn't been the case. I've been a little broody and a little unhappy with myself or something, or unhappy with reality. But yesterday really seemed to set the ship right, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
Mushrooms are a magical thing. But, I mean, that wasn't the only magical component of yesterday. Including when Rachel and I were driving someplace and we saw this weird fucking plane in the sky.
Oh, yeah. It was so low.
And so out of place and so, like...
slow.
Well, you know how planes are sometimes, depending on which direction you're coming from, which direction they're going from. They can look like they're frozen in the sky. This was doing that like times a million.
Yeah.
It was really frozen in the sky until I turned to go drive towards it. Then all of a sudden it started moving again. And more dramatically than one would normally expect from a perspective sense. Sure, we were on drugs, but then there was also that thing where there was a stretch of time where there was this weird magical writing behind everything.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't think much of it, but Rachel was asking me about it.
Yeah, I'm curious about it, because that didn't happen to me. Yeah, we were thinking unidentified flying object.
Eric, what fun is in use when one is judging how large a distance is? What function is in use? One is judging how large a distance is? I don't know. Probably
It wasn't even
SE.
that high, Legends Fall. It was pretty low, this unidentified flying object. I mean, the flying object.
Where did I put my hat?
Underneath.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome.
I lost my hat. Well, the thing is, it was definitely a plane, but it was behaving very unusually for a plane. You know? So, I was supposed to work today at 4, but it got postponed to tomorrow, which I agreed to, even though it's at 7 o'clock tomorrow, and that'll be after we get to Laughlin. And I'm really not going to feel like doing it then, but I'll try to tough it out and do it. It's not that much, it's not that difficult or unpleasant to work with Chloe for an hour. Yes, we're live, and it's just a regular day. Which is kind of a nice thing. I think that I have an easier time listening to my own live streams when I'm listening to ones where I'm not on mushrooms. When I'm on mushrooms, those live streams have some highs and lows, you know. There are moments where I think like, wow, that's freaking gold. Then there are moments that I'm just cringing at myself, you know. Whereas the live stream made like right now is much flatter. And so I figure regardless of anything else, this will probably, for me anyway, be pleasant enough entertainment on the drive tomorrow, at least part of that, you know? Mm-hmm. I mean, the thing is, it's both. You can go ahead and confirm both, Dark Sunshine. There are moments of that if clipped out from the surrounding thing, are pure fucking gold. And it's like, if I were more unsure of myself, I'd play more FE defense here. But that's the truth too, you know. And so it's a mixed bag. I don't like necessarily rewatch it though because I don't want a mixed bag. I'd rather have flat, consistent, predictable quality than volatile ups and downs, some of which may be higher than I ever get here, you know.
Nice use of icon, Dark Sunshine.
The thing is, I want to go through and edit out the best parts into single videos and or shorts even, depending on how long they are. I bet some of them would do quite well. It's hard for me because I don't like dealing with the cringy parts, you know? Because I'm not really engaging with the chat at all. Or very, very little. When I'm engaging with the chat more, I'm much more reactively aware, and therefore, well, I'm noticing the cues that indicate to me that I'm not being cool enough. Either because I'm being dorky, cringy, presumptuous, or boastful seeming, not adequately humble, too full of myself, etc. All the variety of cringe that I encompass when I manifest without the filters, right? One would also expect it to scale discreetly with slot then. I don't know if it is reasonable that people high SE people think they can do better than low SE people do. Well, I mean, slot doesn't work on a continuum of quality. Slot works on a continuum of slots that link to teleology. So it's like, how well you use a function depends on what you use it for. And what you use it for depends on what your dominant and second slot functions are. So because I'm an extroverted intuitor, I don't really use SE so much to do things as I do to enable me to NE more. And that's a particular kind of relationship I have with extroverted sensing that's defined by the fact that I'm an extroverted intuitor. This is a fine time to ask things. I'm super like sane and normal right now. This is as sane and normal as I ever get. Right here. I'm not on any amphetamines. I'm not on mushrooms. I'm not tired from being on amphetamines. I'm not tired from anything in particular. I'm not especially energetic. I'm just, and I'm also not filled with dread or anxiety at all. I feel comfortable and safe and relaxed. And yet, I'm not particularly, fuck yeah, let's go, party! Which normally goes along with me being comfortable, sane, and relaxed. So, it's an unusually good time to ask me whatever. And and that's mushrooms for you, right? It's like, I'm a better person the day after I do mushrooms. Always. SEing is for peeing out my NI overflow. Let me tell you how SE plays out in the INFJ and an ENTP INFJ relationship, and why Rachel is both unlucky and lucky to be in one. Plays out like this. Rachel says something obviously important and true, like, "Hey, when we go to take the goldfish to repatriate them into the lake, we should take them in a container with a lid on it." Eric ignores this and says, "No, we should take them in this bucket." And then part way down as he's driving to the place, he realizes, "Oh, Eric, you should have listened to Rachel. Now you can hear it and you're worrying about the fact that the water's sloshing around in the back and getting into the trunk because you're a moron." So then Rachel goes, just says nothing, but she's lucky because unlike most people, I make sure to point out to her, "I should have listened to you. You were right."
Yeah, he did. And I did not bring up anything, because honestly, like, I wasn't thinking about it.
You forgot about it. Are there functions that help with typing people? I guess that might be NI front stack. Well, it depends what you mean by typing people. NI is anytime you think to yourself, or anybody says or thinks to themselves, "I can't explain exactly why, but I know that guy's a yeah." That's NI. So, So, I mean, I think it's just, you could say that she TE'd me, she TE'd it better than I did. But the thing is, she didn't really TE it. Like, what was I thinking about was the actual TE part of it. Like, well, I'm going to have to scoop water. This bucket's got a handle, make it easy to carry. It's easy to pour the fish out of. It's big enough for the fish to have a little bit of room to swim around, but not enormous. It's just the right size, and it was perfect in every regard, except for the fact that it didn't have a lid. And what I failed to do was observe that that was the salient or most relevant factor to consider. All those other things that I was considering didn't matter. They'll get lost in the wash. It's not more or less difficult to pour the fish into the lake, really. You know, it's like, you certainly don't take effort to TE in that fashion, right? It's unwise to do so. The NI big picture is more important. I think that's probably the best way to explain it. That I TE'd it when I shouldn't have. It didn't need TEing. We're just throwing some fish in a lake. The only thing that we needed to make sure we did is not spill water in the car in the process. Do you know what I'm saying, dog? Do you know what I'm saying? So anyway, I don't really have a whole lot to talk about today, and probably we won't be live streaming for a particularly long time. But I did kind of like want to, I guess, recap the prior day on a live stream, because yesterday was a really significant day. It's strange how a certain day, like, all kinds of shit happens all at once, and it's rare that that's on balance a big positive, right? It was yesterday. Everything was a big positive. It's a Heineken Zero. It has no alcohol in it. They're fucking delicious, though, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, they are.
I'm gonna get myself another one. You want another one?
I just opened mine, so no,
Okay.
thank you.
I'll be right back.
What was interesting about it, Michelle Way? I've only passed it. I never actually went to Santa Monica Pier. Like, never walked on it. We drove to a nearby beach, and we took pictures of it from where we are. No, it's not an abomination, Boba Fett. I mean, maybe it is to you, but, like, I'm happy for it. Because, like, I don't like hangovers. I really don't. They affect... And as I got older, hangovers were affecting me more and more. I could tell my liver wasn't able to take it.
No, I mean, fake beer is God's gift to mankind, really.
Exactly what I said.
It's like there are times when you really want to have a beer.
Yep.
You're
Shoot.
mine. And if you don't drink alcohol, that doesn't change. It's not like there are times when you really want to have a glass of wine. Well, when that happens, I just have to do without. There is no substitute for wine. There's no non-alcoholic wine that makes you go like, this is just like wine or something. This tastes just like beer. Not all non-alcoholic beers are good. I'm not happy with the O'Doul's Amber we got. Drinking it side by side with the Heineken Zero made me realize, like, this is really not that good. I already knew regular O'Doul's is not that good. Kiev Morales, the violinist? Oh yeah, Rain, I cannot handle drinking. I learned that from many, many years of thinking maybe I could. And I don't have any doubt that, you know, in the best case imaginable scenario, it's not any worse than it was. Maybe slightly better, but it's never going to be something I can handle in a healthy fashion. And I don't want to. It's such a punishing drug, right? Like Rachel was saying about hangovers. yesterday I did mushrooms. The punishment part is this sort of coming to terms with who I am without those filters on, feeling kind of embarrassed about myself or whatever. But there's the overall after effect of it is a positive thing. It's like I feel at peace. I feel safe. I feel comfortable. I feel mostly dread free. I recognize that that's part of me. You know, like that guy who's too much with too little fe constraint and comes across at times as very unlikable and braggy and stuff or whatever. I don't. I'm not happy about that part. I'm not happy about that reality of how it comes across. But that's me without filters, you know? And it's a necessary reality that be me without filters in order for me to be me, you know? That might get less so over time, but it might not. And regardless, it's like what mushrooms helps me to do is come to terms with the filthy parts of myself. Everybody has parts of themselves that are filthy. What that means is there's just expressions of reality, of your reality and your role in it that just elicit in yourself disgust, you know? And what I experience with mushrooms is more acceptance of that disgust. It's not like you can't be a person without having some component of self that you're disgusted by. It's necessary in order for you to have any kind of directionality regarding being optimal. So the best you can do is recognize it for what it is, part of the optimality mechanism, and to be as okay with yourself as you can be, given the optimality mechanisms at your disposal, you know? So the thing is, I don't feel at all insecure today or whatever, or self-loathing in particular. Nor do I feel today like, fuck yeah, let's yar, you know. Instead, I feel what I would consider to be appropriately normal. We went and did a couple of things. In other words, we didn't just go to the whippet store and come back here and do whippets and watch TV. We went to the whippet store, but then we also went to the Salvation Army and made a few shorts with Mindy and Tiffany. But we didn't go crazy with that. And I wasn't all sprung and saying, now let's make 100 of them. After that, we went through KFC and came back home. We watched I think one episode of a cartoon or something, and then we started doing this. In other words, from my perspective, this is a smart SI day. It's segmented into things of approximately the right duration, approximately the right ambition, and approximately the right recognition of one's own inherent need for rest and fucking around, if you're me, anyway, and Rachel. So it's like, this is a really good day, or really balanced day. It's not a really good day, and it's not a really bad day, but there's no underlying bad qualities to it. So, in that sense, it's kind of like the optimal day.
Yeah.
Of course, being an ENTP, I'm very inconsistent. I'll always be all over the place, right? I'll have some stretch of time where I have high days and low days. And days like this are pretty rare. And they typically happen after I take mushrooms. And then I feel subdued, chill, and depending on how off the rails I went on the mushrooms, I may feel a little bit ashamed of myself, you know? Or in general, a sense of like, okay, I need to stop being so hedonistic and self-indulgent. But I'll tell you this, I am really looking forward to Tuesday. Today's Sunday?
Yep.
Yeah. Really looking forward to Tuesday. Tuesday, Rachel, is the day that we do mushrooms in Laughlin.
Cool.
That's going to be fun. We'll live stream some, and then maybe we'll like go gamble for a little while.
Okay.
Although, it's like I imagine that seeming super hard when I'm on mushrooms. Cause like even setting up a live stream when I'm on mushrooms is like, oh, this is so hard. Yeah, well, Santa Monica, Michelle, you went to Santa Monica, you went down to the absolute quintessential heart of everything that is Los Angeles. You got everything there. You got all the cool parts of LA, you got shit tons of homeless people, you got trash, you got beauty, you got fishing, you got carnival rides, you got famous people walking around, you got street vendors and street musicians of all sorts. So, you know, it's like I say about LA. It's the biggest and best mediocre city in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And it is definitely that. It is a very mediocre city, you know? It's got its good stuff, it's got its bad stuff, it's all splayed out over freaking forever miles. You gotta drive forever to get anywhere. But it's got its cool nooks. You know, Los Angeles is like a Thomas's English muffin. It's all about the nooks and crannies. What are you doing?
I'm looking at Etsy.
Garden Grove. Garden Grove is a place that has neither a garden nor a grove. Yeah, you have to ask a question like, what's the optimal number of steps? That's a good way to ask it, is to ask that question. People who are genuinely TE will think it through and tell you the optimal, will actually answer the question. People who aren't TE will go, well, I guess you need to meow, and you need to meow, and you need to meow. It's how it's more likely to go, but it's not 100% or anything. I'm going pee.
Oh, that's what you're doing. Dark Sunshine says TE is not being me. Smiley face. What exactly are whippets? Boba Fett asks.
Nitrous oxide.
Nitrous oxide. What's in Pomona? Michelle Way asks.
There's a cool antique mall. Remember we went there recently?
Yeah, there is a cool antique mall.
It's got a lot of different antique stores there. Or like thrifty kind of vintagey stores.
Mm-hmm.
You could also go to the Norms. That's the actual location of the Potato Touch story.
That's right.
That Norms is in Pomona. If you sit at the counter at that Norms, you can experience Eric's Potato Touch story firsthand. You know how there's that restaurant in New York where they filmed where Harry Met Sally that people like to go sit at?
Yes.
I want Norm's to be like that for the Potato Touch story.
That should be.
Oh, that's good urine. Somebody write home to Mama and let her know.
Eric needs to go to that restaurant and tell some employee there about how their potato handling practices became internet lore, says Oliver Linehan.
Yeah.
It's loaded.
Oh, thanks, darling.
You're welcome.
What a sweetheart you are. I want them to put up a sign in the window that says, "Relive Potato Touch here." So, Michelle, that's the thing. If you're in Pomona, you go to that Whippets. I mean, not Whippets. You go to that Norms. Garden Grove? I mean, Garden Grove is so, like, in the middle of nothing. I don't even know what to tell you about that. I know there's a card club near there you could go play poker at. But other than that, Garden Grove's in the middle of BF nowhere. If you can call the middle of metropolitan Los Angeles the middle of BF nowhere, it's like the most centrally nothing located place in Los Angeles. It might as well be in like South Montebello. It's like, why would there even be a motel there? Dark Sunshine, you think perhaps you could draw some kind of conclusions from success and get some shorts over others? Seems to be totally random. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it has something to do with the thumbnail, which I can't define. It's auto-generated. But if you go through Minis Club, you will see an incomprehensible, patternless succession of things getting 3 views, 3,000 views, 100 views, 600 views, 2 views, with no rhyme or reason. Thanks, Michelle. Very sweet of you to say. Do I still like playing games? I haven't gotten into one in a long time. But when I quit playing games was when my ex-wife plugged in this thing that had faulty wiring into the outlet in the garage and like blew out all my shit, including the PS4. which was just destroyed. And so I just stopped playing games at that point. I was playing Madden at the time. I do like football, console football. I really preferred NCAA, but then a lawsuit made that game go away. And so then EA put all of its energies into Madden. I'm not very good at it, but I like it a lot. Bright colored thumbnail hypothesis? I don't have a hypothesis about bright colored thumbnails, do I? Or are you talking to Michelle? And Michelle, let me just state for the record, I do not shit on ESTJs. You keep saying like I do, but I never do, actually. I respect ESTJs. And the thing you said yesterday about ESTPs and ESTJs being just one thing apart, no, they're totally different. They're totally different. My ESTP daughter is rather similar to me. She's an action type and an introverted thinker. My dad is vastly different from me. He's an extroverted thinker and a particularist knower. Hugely different. But that doesn't mean I don't respect him. Doesn't mean I don't respect the function stack. I do. It's like I often say, ESTJs, ISTJs. There's a reason that people like me can even exist. And I don't dislike ESFPs either. Yeah, well, there are ways to improve the likelihood of getting your initial grab with the thumb. Once you have that, then it has to be the right amount of like funny plus banal. Too edgy and it's got a lower ceiling. So there are things I can do, but then additionally, the way I make shorts is not to plan them to know what I'm going to do first. It's to be like at the thrift store, see something, and then just make a short with it on the fly. That's just how I operate. So, my best strategy with Mendy's Club is to just upload as many shorts as possible in as many diverse settings as possible, and know that it's a numbers game like baseball. You know, shorts are like baseball. You're going to get a certain number of singles, a certain number of doubles, a certain number of triples, and a certain number of home runs. Mostly, though, you're going to get out. And as long as you don't expect yourself to hit 800, you won't be disappointed. If you expect yourself to hit 300, 250, well, then you'll probably meet your goal. The thing is, at that point, it becomes a matter of quantity of shorts. And being in the secret club, I get the secret emails that inform me, in no uncertain terms, that they're trying to encourage quantity. So, it's a weird reality to try to navigate, but I think it's actually kind of perfectly suited to my ways. You could argue that a more NI-focused approach would pay off better per video, but I'd get a lot fewer done, and I'm not sure if that's correct anyway, so. Alphabet people. shaking my head. Oh, are you shaking your head? Then congratulations, Blue Internet. You are paying attention in some fashion, consistent with how you normally pay attention. Like everybody else, you aren't special. Congratulations. People who don't understand cognitive functions, dismissing it out of hand. Shaking my head, motherfucker. You don't know anything. You have nothing to shake your head at. You know, it's like, it is the fact that there is no reality except those manifest by an individual observer, right? And it is the fact that we manifest reality in the material, what we might call attention, both willful and non. Those are realities, observational truths. So it's like when you come in here and start trying to be reductive about stuff, you haven't even begun to think well about the subject. You have no business moving your head in any direction. I didn't say your head was still. I say you had no good reason to move it in any direction. And you don't. Your arbitrary wobbleheadedness is up to you. Go for it. I went to a baseball game one time and got a bobblehead as well. It too has no reason to wiggle its head around, and yet it does. So congratulations, bobblehead. And that is a lesson in Schoolage. Mm-hmm. How deep is your love? How deep is your love? Deep is you real, I know. 'Cause I'm living in a world of meow. Having some meow. And the meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow. You know what that song is really saying? How deep is your vagina? Mm. It's a double entendre.
Oh my gosh.
That's what he's really saying. He wants to find out how deep her vagina is.
Oh wow.
Which is his subtle way of saying he has a long penis. Mm. It's a nifty little bit of intuitive layered braggadocio. If you think about it, right? And it also has the benefit of being oddly juxtaposed with his weirdly high voice.
Yes.
It's like, what an intriguingly disco sexy man, thinks the 1979 lady. Mm-hmm. That's why that guy from the Bee Gees got so much tang. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
You know who else I'm guessing got a lot of tang?
Who?
Hall. Daryl Hall.
Oh, Daryl Hall, yeah.
I think he got more tang than John Oates.
I do too.
Although Oates had his own 80s flair.
Yeah.
With that Jerry curl fro of his, you know. Hey, look, Blue Internet's saying words. You should try to see, like, what you want to do is look at your words and then look at reality and see if there are any similarities between them before saying the words. You should try that. But you won't. Um, then you're not understanding what FE is, Boba Fett. I saw this video about the Walking Dead zombie castings. Oh. Dark Sunshine, don't make too much cheese out of Jonathan Basante's milk, okay? Yes, Jonathan Basante has a very gentle tasting milk. It's like it's not from a game animal. It is from a game animal. It's from a goat who's eaten nothing but the softest of grasses. To just accept the fact that it's goat cheese, even though it tastes good. What's the best compliment you've ever gotten? I don't know if it was a compliment, but the thing that immediately comes to mind is Shuffler's affirmation of what I'm saying. It was extremely gratifying. Hey Eric, can I type you right now? I guess if you want to send me the money, I'll type you. I don't really feel like it right now, but you know, when I get a PayPal thing, I email the person, say name your day and time, and I usually go with whatever their first choice is. It's rare that I don't. But I don't always check my email all the time either, so. I like some of the hedging regarding result in a couple of your typing videos recently. Lends credibility. Yeah, well, I mean, a certain amount of hedging is necessary because there are only certain things you can pin down for sure. Like, the most reliable thing to pin down is probably SI polar. If you push enough to test SI, you can discover that somebody's SI polar pretty clearly, and it's pretty distinct from any other slot. That's the most nail-downable thing. But then you're still left with two possible types, and it's not always easy to distinguish between a polished TE Dom with FE8, especially if they're intuitive, like an ENTJ, and or an effective FE Dom. But, you know, that guy with the pink flamingos on his shirt was a perfect example. I had to work hard to determine he was ESFJ, and I still felt a little uncertain about it until later that day I had the weird happenstance that I typed in ESTJ. And at that point, I then felt, okay, I was definitely right about the pink flamingo shirt guy. Because I'm SI, it helps to have recent examples to compare against. I tend to forget the less recent examples. They tend to have less of an impact in my typing of people. Was I supposed to accept the fact that it's bacon, even though it tastes like chipped burnt garbage? No, Michelle,
No.
you were not. Okay, you did the right thing in complaining about that bacon. You know, Rachel and I sometimes suffer from the opposite problem. We'll drive away from a place only to realize we got Diet Coke.
Yeah.
We don't even go back and insist they replace it. We just go, ugh. We're more likely to go through a second McDonald's to get another Coke. The guy with the pink flamingos on his shirt, he was ESFJ. And the lady I typed later that evening, she was ESTJ, but she didn't publish. And I said to Rachel when I went to bed after that lady, I'm like, be glad you weren't awake for that one, or you weren't outside with me for that one, because you would not have liked that lady.
Oh, man.
She was a really sassy kind of ESTJ. She was full of sassafras. Michelle, You're familiar with a little bit of sassafras. Occasionally I see you pour a tall glass of sassafras. Yeah. So I got several at least shorts made at the thrift store, even though they closed the good part of it. It used to have a top part that was full of like electronics and shit. It's gone. They closed it. Like it's empty. There's nothing up there.
Yeah, there's nothing.
But it was still fun going to the thrift store and playing with
Yeah.
the records. We flipped through the records. There's some interesting records they had there. Like, well, there's this short that we're going to make.
Somebody got a walnut guy that has turned into a horse. Somebody got a walnut guy that has turned into a horse. Somebody got a walnut.
So, like, that's 6 seconds, right? But that's the weird thing about shorts. You know, sometimes 6 seconds is the right length. And if you try to make it 8 seconds, it's too long. Even though that sounds crazy.
Somebody got a walnut guy that has turned into a horse. I want to ride him. Somebody got a walnut guy that has turned into.
This will probably do pretty well if it thumbs well. And it did thumb well. Okay. Let's see. Warn him. Turn into horse. And like kind of not grammatically correct titles seem to help a little bit. Misspellings in the title seem to help a little bit. Why? Who knows? Who knows why? I'm sure there's some reason behind it. But I don't know what it is. If you want 109 million views and you're short, you need to have a thumb like this. See, he's got a lady with something weird pushed up against her boobs. Mm-hmm. 109 million 109 million views. People want to see boobs, you know. It's weird how much boobs can improve your views. It's like they're the magical view booster. Mm-hmm. 'Cause everybody likes boobs. See what I just did there? Oh yeah, I touched the boob. Shorts are for beach bros. Is that why they like boobs? Well, see, that's the thing. Dark Sunshine. Nobody actually wants pornography in their YouTube. That's what Pornhub's for, you know? They have their pornography thing elsewhere. They're not going onto YouTube thinking, I'm looking for boobs. They just go down the boob hole. And we've all gone down the boob hole. It's like Sasha Grey is an example of the boob hole, right? It's like there's some legitimate story about her, but it's got a provocative boob picture, and you click it, and before you know it, you're opening your incognito browser. And then before you know it, you're closing it. Doesn't need to stay open that long. It's like they start looking at the boob ones, the shorts, And then YouTube keeps recommending more boob ones to them. And before they know it, they turn off YouTube and open up Chrome and go to Pornhub. Man, I'm assuming that's mostly just dudes, though, right? But maybe not. Yes, and nothing is more curious than the boob, Jeremiah. Yeah. Well, Dark Sunshine, things are even worse with the YouTube algorithm if you are using an account that you don't normally watch YouTube with. Mindy's Club gets recommended the weirdest shit. It gets so many videos about, like, native peoples catching fish. I must have clicked on one of those videos one time and watching Mindy's Club. I mean, well, logged in as Mindy's Club. But I normally only watch YouTube as Talking with Famous People. So the algorithm knows my tastes pretty well for Talking with Famous People. But when I'm logged in as Mindy's Club, I get the weirdest suggestions. Bugs fighting each other. What manner of attention is in use when one is trying to unscramble a scrambled word? E.g., TO. Well, I mean, you have there's multiple approaches you can take. You can look at it and wait for the NI to hit. I don't know, what's that word? What I was just using right there was NE. The way I was doing it right there is NE. I was trying out a bunch of different combinations, and I couldn't figure it out. I try to move the vowels to different places, and the consonants to different places. That's what I was just doing in my head. So, I couldn't figure it out, though. Fortune. That's a tough one. You want the E and the O to go together where you have it. And so I kept trying to separate the E and the O, but with that third vowel, it makes it a tough one. I occasionally say, don't show me this, but it's usually because it's a sad thumbnail or a sad thing. I don't want to see your sad videos. No sad videos allowed. Sadness is for when you're not feeling happy. Well, Rachel, I'm feeling about streamed out. How about you?
A little bit.
Any pressing questions anybody wants to ask? The problem, Beaufet, is this. Sasha Grey is not the perfect girl because she is never yours. Okay? That is the thing to remember about her. She may seem like down, but she's not yours. You reported an ad for ambushing you with sadness. That's good. You're doing the Lord's work there, Oliver. You're doing the Lord's work. Okay, well, I'm glad I got a chance to check in with everybody. I miss you guys. I'm sorry we haven't been around so much lately. It was a dark May. Oh wait, June. It was a dark June here until the very end of it. Last month or so. It's always the kids with the cancer. I can handle kids with cancer. Just don't show me dogs in cages. You know? If you start showing me animals needing rescue, okay. Algorithm, you've got the wrong guy. I do not want to see the suffering, even if there's a happy ending. So just knock it off. Anyway, we love you all. Thank you for being here, and thank you for indulging my, mushroomy excesses yesterday. Appreciate it. You're gentle men and women, scholars, and readers of fine literature all. Have a great day or evening.
Have a great day or evening.
And if I'm not mistaken, there should be a hockey game coming on pretty soon.
Cool.